Hey guys, I've been seeing a lot of these other kind of sorts of videos where people show off sort of different authors and stuff that they've collected, and it just sort of inspired me to make my own since I'm working through collecting all of Clive Barker's stuff. Now, I'm not as well read on Clive Barker as I would like to be. I've read half of the Books of Blood, and I've read the Hellbound Heart. But I think he's a fucking great writer just from the things that I've read. I think at the top of his game back in the 80s and 90s, he was writing a kind of literate, dark, almost fantastical, even somewhat surrealist type of horror that wasn't really nobody was really doing back then, and nobody's really doing now. I'm sad that I mean, I know he's still writing, but I'm sad that most of what he writes nowadays is, young adult stuff, like, the Abarat Quintet, which I haven't read yet, but I probably will because it's Clive Barker. And I know he came out with the Scarlet Gospels, which was kind of his sort of mashup of Pinhead and Harry D'Amour. I haven't read that yet either, but I was sort of apprehensive about it because it got pretty bad reviews from what I heard, and a lot of fans were apparently very disappointed by it. So I don't know. I guess maybe he's fallen off the wagon, but who knows? Maybe he'll come back with something great before he kicks the bucket. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I guess I'll just go in chronological order, very rough chronological order. This is actually the very first thing I bought of Clive Barker. This is his the first three volumes of the Books of Blood. These were originally published in 1984, I believe. Just a bunch of his short stories. This is what put him on the map. This is what got him his name. Obviously, there's the very famous quote from Stephen King, talking about I've seen the future of horror, and its name is Clive Barker. I would definitely agree with him. I'm about halfway through the Books of Blood. This is my first time actually reading it. I've attempted reading the Books of Blood so many times when I was in high school and stuff, and I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get into him. I think maybe it was because I wasn't used to that style of writing yet, that very dense, very British, very full of allusions and that kind of stuff, that type of very literate writing. And if you're not accustomed to Clive Barker or to that style of writing, it can come off as very slow paced. But I finally decided, I'm gonna read it because I love Clive Barker, and I've been reading so many like excerpts and reviews of his stuff, and it just his I don't know, his writing astounds me. Just the poetry of it, the dark, disgusting poetry. So I've had this since about high school, like sophomore year of high school, I think, and this has some great stories in it. I'm about halfway through volume two right now, and volume one has some great stories. Yeah, Book of Blood, Midnight Meat Train, The Yattering and Jack, Pig Blood Blues, Sex, Death, and Starshine, and In the Hills, the Cities. In the Hills, the Cities especially was fantastic. I loved that story. Just the imagery, the sights and the smells. You could almost feel you could almost smell the coppery taste of the blood. It was amazing. And I'm about halfway through volume two right now. So far, my favorite one of volume two is definitely the story Dread, which is a really great story about this sort of academic study of the nature of fear and dread. And it's just it almost feels like a precursor to the sorts of torture porn films, except done right, done in a very intelligent way, and I loved it. This is the British edition of volumes 4 through 6 of Books of Blood. This is published by Sphere, I think. Yeah, there's the British edition of the first three volumes. This is published by Sphere UK. If you want a compilation one like this, because I wanted it to match, because this is 1 through 3, 4 through 6, I wanted to match them, but apparently there was no American release of just a compilation of the last three volumes. They were all released separately under different titles, I think it was The Inhuman Condition, Some of them were released with the Cabal novella, which I don't have, unfortunately. And what was the third one? I can't remember. So this was the only way I could get an omnibus edition of the last three, so it bugs me a lot that they don't match, but that was the only choice I had. What I would really love to have are the signed hardback slipcased editions of the Books of Blood that I think Subterranean Press put out a few years ago. It was signed by Clive Barker. It used the original illustrations that he did for each individual volume. It just looks beautiful, and I would love to have it, but it's like $350 or going up to $600 depending on where you buy it from. So, you know. And then, let's see. I've got The Thief of Always. This is like his, sort of like, I haven't read this, but this is sort of like a children's novel, but not a children's novel, or I guess you'd say it's a children's novel done in Clive Barker's inimitable style. Very interesting, because I love it when sort of adult authors take on, you know, childish or child sort of stories, children's fantasy, because I think that, you know, when you have a guy like Clive Barker writing your children's fiction, I think, you know, it kind of legitimizes it, I think, and it makes all the shitty fucking kids books that I've read, you know, it makes them, you know, he elevates it, you know, I'm sure he does. Anyway, I haven't read it, like I said. Then I have the Hellbound Heart. Actually, you know what? I think I'm wrong. This is the oldest Clive Barker thing I own. I bought this in high school, sophomore year of high school, pretty much right after I watched the movie Hellraiser, which was the first Clive Barker thing I ever saw. I loved it, still love it. Love the second one too. Yeah, you know, not much to say about this one. It's well, they don't call him Pinhead or anything. They don't. And actually, the thing that I found most interesting about the novella is that the Cenobites aren't nearly as prominent as they were in the film. I mean, they're, you know, they're identified, but you only get impressions. You know, gashes, open wounds, jewelry. You know, sadomasochistic, you know, clothing. You know, you never get a full sort of picture of what they look like, and certainly none of them are named, which I thought was really interesting. And so, just some of the writing in this it's grotesque, but it's beautiful the way that it's written, you know, and just the multitudes of flesh and bodily fluids, and it's wonderful. I love this book. And it's not very long either. It's like 160 pages, something like that. So I read it in like an hour and a half. So it's a great book. Then I've got these two paperbacks here. These are from his later period, mid to late 90s. I believe, was it Sacrament came first, and then it was Galilee. Haven't read these, but well, one of my friends gave me this, because I guess they didn't want it, and they knew that I like Clive Barker, and I bought this from a used bookstore about a week ago. Don't know a whole lot about them. I know Sacrament's about a photographer who takes pictures of like extinct or dying wildlife, and I know Galilee is sort of this weird sort of generation-spanning thing about like sort of a family that's sort of similar to the Kennedys. Seemed really interesting. You know, don't know much about him, but it's Clive Barker, you know, so I bought him. I know that Sacrament, the main character, is a gay photographer, which is interesting because I think it's the only novel he's written with a very prominent gay main character. I mean, I haven't read most of his novels, so I don't know yet, but that's what I've been told, that, you know, Sacrament is one of the only novels of his that specifically focuses on a gay character, and we stay in his point of view for pretty much the entire novel, which I think is cool. Then I have Imagica here. This was his, I think his third novel, I think. Could be wrong. I got this for like $2 at the library. But it's a hardcover with the dust jacket. I mean, it's a little beat up, you know, crud all over it. It's a little beat up, but it's a, I'm pretty sure it's a first edition, because I, right there, you know, 109876543321. Pretty sure, yeah, first edition, it says right there. So, you know, I mean, I know it's kind of beat up, but a first edition hardcover for $2, it's not bad. So, don't know much about it. People say that this along with this series here, which I'll get to in a minute. People say that this one is sort of like his magnum opus. You know, it's this gigantic, epic, you know, world-spanning fantasy thing. You know, it's like over 800 pages, and you know, so definitely wanting to check that out. And then these are the two that I'm most proud of. These two right here. This is the two books in his as yet unfinished trilogy called the Trilogy of the Art. Don't know if or when he'll ever finish it, but these are the first edition, the first UK editions, hardcover, dust jackets, everything. I got them from Half Price Books for, oh gosh, I got Everville for 15, and I got this for, maybe the price is still written inside of it. I guess not. Oh, and it's signed too. But yeah, so, but I got them cheap. Like, this one wasn't more than 30, I know that, and this one was 15. This one's not signed, but still, you know. And oh god, this one's my favorite. I haven't read these yet, but people say like this, along, like I said, along with the Magica, is like his magnum opus. So I'm very, very excited to read them. And man, just look at that cover art. That's amazing. It's beautiful, and I love this sort of like sickly green, almost emerald green, seafoam green hue that it's got, you know, and it's, you know, like it's got these amazing illustrations inside of it, and just wow, you know. I read Will Erickson's blog, Too Much Horror Fiction, and he said something that I agree with. He said when he first saw this, he thought it was like some kind of special edition, limited, slip-cased, whatever, because, I mean, it's just so elaborate and so nice and beautiful, all these drawings and stuff. But no, this is just the version that people in the UK got off the shelf when it came out, and I'm so jealous. It seems like, in general, the UK got much better cover art than we did. The only exception is I'm not a huge fan of the cover art for Everville, the second book. Just because, you know, it's just black with a crack running through it. It's not, you know, the American edition is a lot more enigmatic. It's just red with like a seashell on it. But I don't know. I think the image of the seashell on the red background, I think it's very striking. So I kind of like the American cover in that case better than this one. But I was just so happy to get these, and they were cheap, like I said. So at least as far as first editions go. So I was just so happy to get them. So yeah, these are kind of like, at the moment, the crown jewel of my collection. So yeah, that is my current Clive Barker collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Maybe I'll make more of these if you guys are interested, since I've only very recently started seriously collecting books and stuff, like hardcovers and first editions and that kind of thing. So yeah, I may make another one of these in the future. And if you like this, you know, let me know. All right, see you guys later. Bye.